Here are 10 fun facts about mushrooms you can listen to in English. Now, let's get started. Sunbathing Shiitake. Can putting a common mushroom in the sun make it much more nutritious? For shiitake mushrooms, the answer is yes. These mushrooms have a lot of something called ergosterol. When sunlight shines on them, its ultraviolet light causes a chemical reaction. This reaction changes the ergosterol into vitamin D. It is amazing that if you leave fresh shiitake mushrooms in the sun for just 1 to 2 hours before cooking, they can have more than 10 times the amount of vitamin D. This vitamin D is very important for our health. Its main job is to help our bodies take in calcium. Calcium is a mineral we need to keep our bones strong. So, getting enough vitamin D is very good for stopping problems like osteoporosis, which makes bones weak. This good change from ergosterol to vitamin D happens in both fresh and dried shiitake. This makes them a great food for healthy bones. Forest lanterns. Have you ever wondered if the mushrooms that glow in a dark forest make light like fireflies do? For a long time, how mushrooms make light was a big question for scientists. People often thought it was similar to the way insects, like fireflies, make light. However, new studies show that glowing mushrooms, like the Mycena species, have a totally different way. Their light starts with something called hispidin. This is changed into a special molecule that makes light. This happens in 3 steps with enzymes. This finding is important because it shows that the way mushrooms make light is not related by genes to how other glowing creatures do it. In other words, different living things developed the skill to glow separately many times over the history of life. This is a great example of something called convergent evolution. Also, scientists think this light has a purpose in nature. It brings insects to the mushrooms at night, and these insects help spread the mushroom spores to new places. Altered Enoki. Did you know that Enoki mushrooms are not originally white? The long, thin, white mushrooms you often see in the store are actually made by people. Wild Enoki mushrooms have a short, fat stem and a brown cap. The long, white shape we know is made by a special farming method. They are grown in bottles in a very dark place, which stops them from getting color. Also, they are grown in a place with a lot of a gas called carbon dioxide. The amount is 3,000 to 4,000 parts per million. This is about 10 times more than in normal air, and it makes the stems grow long and thin. This special way of farming was made for a reason, because of what people like to eat. The changed shape has a lighter taste and is more crunchy, which is very popular for food like soups and hot pots, so it sells very well. While the store version is liked for its texture, people say the wild type has a much stronger, more natural taste. So, the mushroom we often eat is the same kind of mushroom as the wild one, but it was changed on purpose by farming technology to make a new kind of food experience. Truffle Hunter. Why were pigs used in the past to hunt for truffles, a very expensive food? The reason is because of a special chemical. Black truffles make a chemical called androstenol. This is the same chemical found in the mouth of male pigs. It works as a strong pheromone, which is a special scent to attract female pigs. When a female pig smells a truffle, which can be 1 meter under the ground, she feels a strong natural pull. She wants to dig very hard because she thinks she is finding a male pig. However, this idea of a truffle pig is famous, but today, truffle hunters often like to use trained dogs. The big problem with pigs is that they really want to eat the truffles. A hunter can lose a truffle that costs hundreds of dollars very quickly if the pig eats it. But dogs can learn to just show the location of a truffle and get a small snack for a reward. This makes dogs better partners, so the expensive truffles can be found and sold safely. Accidental traveler. Have you ever found a strange, bright yellow mushroom in your houseplant? It is probably Leucocoprinus birnbaumi. This mushroom is a world traveler because of the plant business. It first came from warm, tropical places, but now it is all over the world. Its journey started when its roots were mixed into the soil for houseplants by mistake. When people bought and moved houseplants, they also carried this mushroom to new countries without knowing. It likes the warm, wet soil inside pots, which is like its first home. It can grow to be about 10 centimeters tall. This mushroom looks bright and happy. It is sometimes called the yellow parasol. However, it is a little poisonous if you eat it, and it can make your stomach hurt. The good news for plant owners is that it is not dangerous for the plants. This is because Leucocoprinus birnbaumi is a type of fungus that only eats dead things in the soil. It does not eat the roots of living plants, so you don't have to take it out of the pot to keep your plant healthy. One-night mushroom. Can you imagine a mushroom that changes into black ink in just one day? This really happens with the ink cap mushroom. Long ago, people found a smart way to use this mushroom's special change. Ink cap mushrooms, like the one called Coprinopsis atramentaria, have a process called deliquescence. When the mushroom gets older, its cap makes special chemicals. These chemicals break down the cap itself and turn it into a black liquid full of spores, which are like tiny seeds, which helps the mushroom spread its spores. In the past, starting in the 18th century, people in Europe collected this black liquid. They used it as a strong ink for writing and drawing. Using this ink was not just for fun, it was also useful for safety. Normal ink did not have this, but the mushroom ink had many tiny spores inside. You could see the spores with a microscope, and each one had a special shape. Because of this, it was a great ink for signing important papers. People could check the spores later to see if a signature was real. Today, we use modern inks made in factories. However, some artists still use this natural ink because they like how it looks and its interesting history. Emperor's Last Meal. Have you ever heard of a meal that changed history? In 54 AD, the Roman Emperor Claudius died after he ate a mushroom dish. It was his favorite food. Many people believe his death was not an accident. An old historian named Tacitus wrote that Claudius's fourth wife, Agrippina, killed him. She mixed a dangerous mushroom called Amanita phalloides into his food. The reason she did this was to make sure her son, Nero, could be the next emperor. This plan to kill him worked very well because of the mushroom's poison. The poison is famous because the symptoms appear very late. After eating it, a person can feel fine for 8 to 24 hours. Then they get very sick. Because it took so long for him to get sick, it was very hard for people to know who poisoned him or when it happened. When Claudius started to feel sick, the poison had already caused damage to his liver and kidneys that could not be fixed. There was no medicine to stop the poison. Made from mushroom. Can you imagine living in a house or wearing sneakers made from mushrooms? This may be possible soon because of mycelium. Mycelium is the part of a mushroom that looks like roots. People can make a new and amazing material by growing mycelium in a special shape and then pressing and heating it. This material is very strong. It is stronger than concrete. It is also lighter than plastic, and it does not burn in a fire. This new technology is sometimes called mycotexture. There are many different uses for this material. NASA is studying if it can be used to build houses on Mars. This is because the mushroom part could be grown right there. This technology is also changing the world of fashion. A material like leather can be made from mycelium. It is called mushroom leather. Famous brands like Hermes are using it for bags, and Adidas is using it for sneakers. It is a good choice for the environment because making normal animal leather needs much more water and energy. Christmas truffles. Do you know how expensive restaurants can serve fresh winter truffles in July? The answer is on the other side of the world, in Australia. The famous French black truffle is usually found in Europe only in the winter. But in the 1990s, some business people in Australia brought young oak trees from France. Special truffle fungi were already living on the roots of these trees. They planted them in places like Western Australia, where the weather and the ground are like in Europe. After waiting for 5 to 10 years, these new farms started to grow good black truffles. Australia's seasons are the reverse of Europe's, so the truffle picking season is from June to August. This is perfect because at that time, there are no fresh truffles in Europe. Because of this, Australia now sells many truffles to other countries. It sends them by airplane so they can get to chefs in Paris or New York in just 48 hours after they are taken from the ground. Now, expensive restaurants can buy fresh black truffles every month of the year. Emperor's deadly mushroom. Can you think of a food that was called the food of the gods, but was also used to kill an emperor? In old Rome, there was a very special mushroom, Amanita caesarea, or Caesar's mushroom. It has a bright orange top and a wonderful taste. The rich and important people of Rome loved it. Emperor Julius Caesar liked it a lot, so it was named after him. Old Roman writers said it was one of the best and most expensive foods you could eat at a special dinner. But this mushroom has a dangerous relative that looks very similar, the death cap. Old writers say that Emperor Claudius was killed in 54 AD by his wife Agrippina. Many people think she put death cap mushrooms in his favorite mushroom dish. The poison in death caps is famous for working very slowly. The signs of being sick often don't show for more than 8 hours. Because of this delay, it was hard to know the food had poison. This made the murder plan work, and it helped her son, Nero, become the next emperor.